We want to be honest with ourselves and we want to understand where our time is going. Hi, my name is Kayla and welcome to my channel where we talk all about project management. If you're new here and watching for the first time, I want to invite you to subscribe and let me know what questions you have about project management. I want to know how I can help you. Okay, on to today's topic. This is something short and sweet, but I get asked this question a lot, and people tend to make this a lot more complicated than it really is. And my philosophy about just about everything in life is the simpler, the better. So the question for today is, how many hours does it take to manage a project? And you may be asking yourself this question because you work with a team of project managers and you're trying to figure out their capacity. Or you may be asking yourself this question because you're a freelance project manager and you want to figure out how to accurately quote your clients, or you want to figure out how many projects you yourself could manage. So how do we know how long it takes to project manage a project? Well, we don't ever definitively know until it's done, okay? That is the truth of the matter. But what we can do is understand, given data we have from projects that we have worked on in the past, how much time we are spending on managing projects. So one of the first things that I coach people to do when they don't understand how much time or where they're spending their time is to start out by auditing your time or your team's time, whoever it is that is managing the projects. And I get pushback on this. There's a lot of pushback on this because people feel like when you ask for an audit of your time, like they're going to get graded on it. Like I'm going to say, oh, you passed or you failed. You're spending too much time here and not enough time there. And yes, one of the purposes of a time audit is to figure out how we can be more efficient, but it's not in and of itself a way to grade people. We want to be honest with ourselves and we want to understand where our time is going. And ultimately, we need to capture that data that tells us, okay, this is how many minutes or hours roughly that I'm spending on managing a project. When we have that information, we could properly resource, we could properly spread work across our project managers if we're dealing with a project manager team, or if it's ourselves, then we have a lot better management of ourselves and of our time. So the first thing I suggest doing always is a time audit. Where is my time going and how long am I spending on tasks? Once you have that historical data, you could take a look at it and say, okay, well, it looks like I'm spending about 3 hours a week on this type of project, or I'm spending about 5 hours on this type of client. You can figure that out for yourself, start to piece it together, and start to understand what percentage of your total project time is going toward project management. This is really how we figure this out. Now, when I'm working with, let's say, a development team, and we are building a piece of technology, what we'll do is we will break up that project into different pieces and time box it out to say, okay, I think it would take 200 hours to build this piece, 100 to build this, and 500 to build that. And then I can say, okay, given how many total hours, I forget how many I said there, let's just say it was 1,000, even though I don't think that added up to 1,000. Given that it's 1,000 hours, let's say that I know given this type of project and this type of client, typically about 15% of the total hours are going to be project management hours. So I could say, okay, 150 hours. I think the average is about 10%. 10% of total hours on a project is project management. What I have heard and read as the industry standard is typically about 10 to 12% of specifically a technology project is going to be project management. So we could also use that as a benchmark. But ultimately, what you're going to have to do is understand yourself, understand the project, understand the client, and the requirements there for you as a project manager, and make an estimate, okay? A smart estimate for yourself. So that you can make sure that you have enough time in there, but not too much, all right? We don't want to overly pad our time. Ultimately, what you want to do is understand yourself, the type of project you're working on, the requirements, the type of client, understand like history over time, what your time input has been in terms of projects, and then of course the industry standard, understand what that average is or that benchmark for the industry, and then you can make a very educated estimate of how long this will take you. And as I say, you'll get better at it over time. You may work on some projects where it's a lot less and some where it's a lot more, but you will start to understand what your capacity is and how long it will take you to work on projects, or how long it will take your team to work on projects. And once you have that down, then you can only make improvements for there and create efficiencies for your teams. All right, that's all for today. I would love to hear from you about what sort of solutions you have come up with to calculate your own capacity or your team's capacity. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you next time. Bye.